So likely, if you've been paying attention to the last couple of weeks or even all of this year to the Apple leaks and rumors that have been happening, you know that we know so much about the upcoming devices from Apple, the devices that were just recently released, devices that were released earlier in the year. Like, we know all the things and have known all the things. But a lot of questions come out as to how and why do we know these things? How do we know them so far in advance? And what exactly is going on right now? And how are all these leakers popping up on Twitter that didn't exist last year? There's a lot to kind of go through here, and even some like actual consequences to when someone leaks and then gets caught. And it's not good. I guess I'm going to tell you all about it right after this.
This is, you listening to Travis.
What up, players? Welcome back. And for all you new people, welcome. My name's Travis and I do tech videos every single week and have a blast doing it. If that sounds like fun to you, sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. Anything I talk about will be in the description below. But for now, let's just get into the video. 2020 has been the year of like everything terrible. Like everything terrible in this world that could happen has happened. From murder hornets to COVID to just everything terrible. And for Apple, it's been a bit of a mixed bag. They've had so many leaks about their hardware this year. I'm sure they're thinking 2020 can go away real soon. I'm guessing they're wanting to flush the toilet on as well. But here's the thing. When you leak a product, when you leak something, there are consequences. I want to talk about those consequences, but before we get into that, I want to talk about why these leaks happen and how they're happening. First of all, I used to work for a multi-billion-dollar company that actually manufactures and sells electronic devices. So I totally was in a position where I could have leaked things to people, and it was kind of exciting to know about things that no one else in the world knew about, and you kind of wanted people to know. But I also knew it wasn't worth my job. Matter of fact, if you've ever signed an NDA, it's more than just your job. In the case of John Prosser, he's dealing with people on a very high level of access to devices and products and everything, the likes of which have not been seen very often. Listen, there have been leakers and leaks for many years across every single industry. But this year, especially with Apple, we're seeing some really crazy leaks really early. So let's talk a little bit about how and why, and then the consequences of which has happened recently. And it's kind of terrible. First of all, why? Well, when I used to know about these things and I used to watch tech YouTube, I wished that I could be that guy to tell those tech YouTubers something cool that I knew about, that they covered. But I knew that in looking at the NDA that I had signed, that not only could I get fired for that, because obviously I can't even take the credit for saying that I leaked it to someone, otherwise I definitely would get fired and lose my well-paying job, but depending on what I would leak, I could get sued. I can't afford to get sued. Some of these companies have you absolutely over a barrel. If you decide to leak some information that does actual damage to that device, and I don't mean physical damage, but to that release, maybe it compromises their standing in the industry, maybe another company gets some of the information about it and is able to make a better version, they're coming after you for damages. The risks are insane, and that's just if you're willing to risk your job for a little bit of clout, like that's one thing, but to go to actual court and potentially lose every single bit of money you will ever make in your life, it ain't worth it. And every company has this, basically signed into their NDAs. If they're gonna give you access to devices and products that aren't quite released, they wanna make sure you're not gonna tell anyone about it. So why are people doing it now? Just like I said, they want a little bit of that clout. They're excited about the products they're dealing with. They want people to know about it before they're supposed to know about it. And the real problem is those leaks, the news from it, is absolutely massive. The amount of people that read those leaks, watch the videos for them, the numbers are ridiculous. So of course you kind of want a little bit of that fame, touch that fame a little bit. Let me touch that fame. If you're a YouTuber, you're actually making money off of these leaks, not directly, but indirectly by making the video. Now, the thing is, this is where it becomes a little bit tricky. Most good reporters do not pay their leaked sources. As a matter of fact, they don't even necessarily look for sources. The sources come and look for them. That's the kind of backwards thing here. Again, it's all down to human nature. You want a little bit of clout, so you want to help someone out. Maybe you're a big fan of Jern, and you just want to tell them a little something. And that adrenaline that runs through you when you see your news story hit a front page tech video sometimes is unmatched, or a Mark Gurman article, whatever the case may be. But there are very real risks. There's a story that Mark Gurman once leaked something that got someone fired. And then when the memo went out about the person getting fired, he leaked that too. That's some savage stuff right there. That is some savage stuff. Let's talk about the recent leak with Front Page Tech, where John was trying to release a video of the new headphones from Apple by using a 3D render to basically protect his source. That's one of the things that a real leaker needs to do. Protect your source. The best way to do that is make some type of proxy. If someone sends you a video of something, you make a 3D render or a completely different fake version of it to give the general idea to the audience without compromising your source. Somehow, some person got that on Twitter. Some guy who thinks he's a leaker got that information and leaked it. And he doesn't have to protect his source because it wasn't really the direct source. And I think is just a Twitter guy, and I don't think he really cares. If you're making your everyday living off of this type of content, you're going to protect your sources so they can get you what you need. You're invested in them as much as they are invested in you. You are a safety, two-way kind of directional thing going on. If you're just some dude on Twitter just sharing stuff, it just gets you more followers. There's no risk, who cares? Now let's be clear, there's a lot of pressure on the actual leaker or reporter, whatever you want to call them, themselves. They've got to make sure that they validate at least 3 sources before they release it. This is why, again, a professional versus some average, ordinary person on Twitter is of a different level. Not only that, they got to make sure that it's actually going to happen, because if they put something out and it doesn't happen, then you're not really that good of a source anymore, and everyone's going to leave you. Because the reality is you're only as good as your last leak, and if your last leak was nothing, people are going to look at you with that big-ass side eye. The amount of stress that goes into being a leaker, whether it means being a leaker from the company side or from the YouTuber or even the journalist side, is super high. The pressure is on. There are so many eyes on every single leak. Everyone has interest. Even the mainstream media is sometimes interested in the latest leak about these devices. So we're talking about eyes that don't normally see a lot of this content. If you talk about the new iPhone 12, I mean, everyone's going to want to know. There are plenty of people who've established themselves as accurate leakers, and you know who they are. If you go on Twitter and you see some person who has maybe a couple thousand followers and you never really heard of them before, there's probably a reason for that. There's a lot of people online right now trying to gain clout from established other leakers and reporters. And I get it. There's so many eyes on everything, so much interest. You could get your fame if you can get the right leak, but you could also destroy someone's life. So I really hope you consider that and pay attention to that before you leak the latest thing that you did no research on. So unfortunately, he actually leaked the video of the headphones rather than a 3D render that Front Page Tech was going to release in their video. And allegedly, this has gotten 6 people fired. First of all, I can't stand when people lose their job over stupid stuff. I actually don't like people losing their job at all. I kind of get triggered about it. It makes me feel bad. But what really disappoints me about this, what's really aggravating, is that apparently 4 of them didn't even know what the hell was going on. Let me say that again. Apparently only 6 people knew about the video, or at least had access to be able to make that video that I guess happened in China. But 4 of them had nothing to do with the leak, completely clueless. Imagine walking into work one day, the job that you love, doing some cool stuff, playing with some new Apple gadgets, and they sit you down in a room and send you packing. And you did nothing wrong. This is the part that absolutely blows my mind. And people that are not professional journalists or leakers or whatever the case may be, who have nothing to lose, are now ruining other people's lives. I'm not talking about the people who made a decision to leak the device or the product or whatever, the video. I'm talking about innocent bystanders who maybe work in the same department and get caught in the crossfire. In the middle of this global pandemic, where coming by certain jobs, especially high-level jobs, is kind of hard anyway, if you lose your pretty good paying job with Apple, you're gonna be kind of upset. By the way, I don't know what the laws are in China, but my guess is they're probably not gonna work for any high-tech company over there ever again. So the real dangers of this aren't necessarily when you're leaking. What if someone on your team, maybe someone you don't even like, leaks it? Gets you fired from a job maybe that is your dream job, helping you pay the mortgage, the rent, putting food on your table, and it gets taken away from you. It's not very fair. And I really hate that. So much of this is really pushed by human ego, the desire for clout. That's right, these leakers, and I'm not talking about the reporters, I'm talking about the people in the company who are leaking the actual information, are looking for this thing that they can't have. By the nature of leaking the information, you cannot be known. So what's the point? And listen, I'm gonna watch all the leaks and everything. I like that stuff. And I'm not saying this is gonna stop anything. But where I have a problem with it is, if you absolutely are against leaking and you still reap the consequences of someone else's actions, maybe we should stop this. And I'm sure some of you are gonna have some thoughts in the comments below. Feel free to leave some comments down there. At the end of the day, the leaks are not gonna stop. It is interesting, but I thought when I heard this about people getting fired who had nothing to do with the leaks, that really hurt me. That really kind of upset me. So I wanted to make this video. I hope that that was something that was worth the time. I hope you learned something with that. Anyway, I'm gonna tell you about some of these videos over here. I haven't shot a video in like 2 weeks, so I don't even remember what videos I've done recently. Just watch one of these and I'll see you next time. Peace and love.